Following a meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin in Moscow on Wednesday, Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said the removal of Iranian forces was a declared goal of Russia. According to a report by Khan Public Broadcast, Israel can continue to act against Iranian aggression in Syria without limits. Netanyahu told Putin that ties between us have prevented friction between our armies and contributed to security in the region, adding that they have had 11 meetings since 2016. The Israeli Prime Minister also invited Putin to visit Israel for the inauguration of a new monument in Jerusalem to commemorate the victims of the World War II siege of Leningrad, an invitation the Russian president accepted. Russia's role in helping defeat Hitler's Nazi regime in World War II was praised by Netanyahu, saying he will never forget the Red Army's efforts. First, I would like to congratulate you and the Russian people on Defender of the Fatherland Day. We will never forget the roles played by Russia and the Red Army in defeating the Nazis. Several days ago we decided to complete funding for the Museum of the Jewish Fighter in World War II. Approximately 500,000 Jews fought in the Red Army. Soon we will dedicate a memorial in Jerusalem to those who fell during the siege of Leningrad. Mr. President, I would like to invite you to be our guest of honor, and no one is more deserving, Netanyahu told Putin. An estimated 27 million of the former Soviet Union's soldiers and civilians were killed in World War II, and the Red Army's triumph in the war is viewed as a huge source of pride in Russia. Standing alongside Putin in Kremlin, Netanyahu addressed the situation in Syria, vowing that Israel will continue its attacks to prevent Iran from consolidating itself militarily in the war-torn country. The greatest threat to stability and security in the region comes from Iran and its proxies. We are determined to continue our vigorous action against the attempts by Iran, which calls for our destruction, including its attempts to entrench militarily in Syria, he said. I would like to discuss this with you, but also our excellent bilateral relations, which are due to the over 1 million Russian speakers who have contributed greatly to Israel, have become part of us and have brought the Russian culture as part of Israeli culture. Moreover, tourism is at an all-time peak. 400,000 Russians visit Israel every year and approximately 200,000 Israelis visit Moscow every year, Netanyahu concluded. Wednesday's meeting between the two leaders marks the first since Russia blamed a downing of its military plane in Syria on Israel in September last year. Moscow's report charged that the Israeli pilots, who were carrying out an airstrike on a target in Syria, knew the Russian aircraft would become the target of what Israel has described as a rampage of Syrian anti-aircraft fire. Israel rejected the report, insisting that they did not use the Russian plane as a shield, and Syrian irresponsibility and negligence were responsible for the incident. The apparent target of the Israeli strike was an ammunition storage facility near the city of Latakia that Israel said housed advanced weapons destined for use by arch-foe Hezbollah in Lebanon. The incident in September caused Moscow to provide the Syrian army with its S-300 missile defense system. The delivery of the S-300 system to the Syrian army marks a major change in its defense capabilities, since the system tracks aircrafts and ballistic missiles over a range of 300 kilometers. Despite a diplomatic faux pas, Israel continued its airstrikes on Iranian targets in Syria. In an interview with I-24 News last month, Russian ambassador to Israel Anatoly Viktorov called Israel's activity in Syria intolerable and inadmissible, a day before the Russian Foreign Ministry issued a similar warning that the Israeli strikes must stop. The warning came after Israeli fighter jets struck military facilities it believed belonged to Iran near Damascus International Airport. Netanyahu and former IDF chief of staff broke with Israel's policy of ambiguity last month, acknowledging that fighter jets have carried out hundreds of attacks in Syria over the years against what it says are Iranian military targets and advanced arms deliveries to Hezbollah.